Nicky from Mummas Beans, and today I'm going to talk about the fourth trimester and how different the fourth trimester is to many other phases in your baby's life. So when you give birth to your baby, I think we all kind of expect that we're going to give birth to this little bouncing, smiling being that will kind of look at you and smile at you and laugh with you, and will sit happily in its pushchair and lay down in its bed and do all these things that we kind of expect babies to do. However, the baby in the fourth trimester doesn't really do any of these things. The baby in the fourth trimester is really a little fetus, and it comes out totally incapable of doing anything. And in that fourth trimester, they are learning about the outside world, and you are learning about being a mum. So in the fourth trimester is a school of thought that says that human babies are born at least 3 months too early. We couldn't give birth to a baby of 3, 4, 5 months because it would be too big physically to come out. Nobody would want to be pregnant for that long either. So we call it the fourth trimester because we believe that those first 3 to 5 months are kind of a learning curve and are very different to the rest of baby's life. And if we look at that fourth trimester as something that's very different, and we use that fourth trimester to really relax and learn about who our babies are and allow our babies to learn what the world is like, we will in theory make that transition easier for us and easier for our babies. So the fourth trimester, we allow kind of, I always say 3 to 5 months. So in theory it's 3 months, trimester is 3. But I always say up to 5 months, because if you get to that magic 3-month mark and nothing's changed, you kind of start panicking and start worrying. So the first 3 to 5 months, and how we can make that transition easier is really by, as much as we can, recreating the womb. So looking at the position our baby is in when it's inside you. So again, I have my rather unattractive little doll here. I realise that all my teaching dolls are with the lovely Steph, so I have been left with this little baby doll of my daughter's. So if we look at the position that our baby is in when it's in the uterus, it is absolutely curled and bent up. It's head down, its legs are bent, its arms are bent, and it's in this really squished up position here. Lovely curved back, arms are bent and legs are bent. It comes out and it's born into this world where we know that we have to lie them on their back. So it goes from this curled, scrunched up position to lying on their backs. And when they lie on their backs in this position, that is absolutely the opposite to how they were in the uterus. So from this position to this position, it's a massive change. And in this position here, when your baby lays on its back, its arms and its legs have all this space to flap around. So you'll notice that when your baby lays down, it will flap its arms around, especially when it cries. Its legs and its arms will flap around here. And because it isn't used to that feeling of all this stuff flapping around here, it gets more and more worked up. As soon as you pick your baby up and you hold it into you, those arms are contained, the legs are contained, and it begins to feel more comfortable and more understanding of where it should be. So from this position here to this position here is massive, and it's very, very normal for you to lay your baby down and for it to start flapping its arms and for it to cry. The other reason it does is because it has a Moro reflex. So a Moro reflex is a startle reflex. It's a reflex that it's born with. It's an instinctive reflex. And the Moro reflex, when you drop baby back, so from this position, it will be checked in hospital by whoever's doing your postnatal check. When we drop our baby back here, the arms will come out and it will startle. And that feeling here, it startles and it goes, oh my Jesus Christ, what the hell are these? Oh my God, these things are flapping. It has no control over its arms and legs. It cries, its legs flap, its arms flap, and it thinks, what the frig is all of this? As soon as we pick our baby up and we hold it, we contain all of that movement. So it's really, really normal until your baby integrates that Moro reflex. And by integrating it, I mean that they still have it, but they have it and they go, oh, it's okay, they're my hands, I know my hands, and it can begin to coordinate its hands and its mouth and its face and its body parts and understand where it is in the world. It's very normal for that Moro reflex to frighten them or to scare them. So The way we integrate that moral reflex is by holding our baby close, is by swaddling our baby, or by wearing our baby in a sling. So the first thing I want to say, it's really normal for your baby to not want to lay down. It's not because it needs a cuddle or because it wants a cuddle or because it's trying to wind you up. It's just because it can't control its body and those arms and legs flap and flail, and it doesn't understand that it will begin to integrate that and understand where their body is. So that's the first thing that's very different. So the containment that we had in the womb, we don't have when we're lying on our back. So it's very normal for your baby to want to be on you for at least the first 3 to 5 months. The way we get around it is we say invest in a really good sling. The close Kaboo carrier is really lovely, or a stretchy wrap. Go and find yourself a sling library. So at least then your baby can sit on you here. You can wrap them in a sling and you can have your hands free. The other thing that's really good is swaddling. A lot of mums will come to me and say their baby doesn't like to be swaddled. Generally speaking, they're the mums that have wrapped the baby up and just left them on the floor, and that doesn't work. They don't like to be swaddled and just left. We have to add in all of the other things. So swaddling and then cuddling them and rocking them and shushing them and doing all the other things they had in the womb can work as well. And when you swaddle, you do have to swaddle them quite tightly, and I'm going to do a separate swaddling video, and we've got a separate 5 S's video as well that you can look at. So we contain them by holding them in a sling, and by swaddling them and wrapping them. The next thing that happened in utero was that they had absolutely no stimulation. So your baby was in a dark world, they couldn't see anything. And all of a sudden they're in this world where they have contrasted lights, they have dark and light, they have a whole array of things that they're looking at. They won't be able to see in colour, and they can't see very far in advance when they're tiny, but they still have much more to look at than when they were in the womb. So that some of them can find it very difficult to switch off. So you'll find that you'll have a baby that will kind of look around at stuff, and you can see their eyes getting heavy, but they'll ping back open. And some babies need help in switching off, and that's when the calming techniques can come in that Steph has shown you in our 5 S's video. So by switching on your baby's calming reflex, you are telling them it's okay to go to sleep, it's okay to switch off from this world, something they can find very difficult because they're just not used to all these different contrasts. So the sensory stimulation is massive and a huge change. And the last thing that they had when they were in the uterus was the movement. So you will be moving all day. What most women find is when they're on the move all day, they don't really notice their baby because baby's quite happy being moved around. As soon as they lay down to relax in our classes, or when they lay down to go to sleep, that the baby starts to wriggle because they don't like being still. So as soon as we pick our babies up, we contain them. 9 times out of 10, as soon as we're holding the baby, we start to rock them and we move them, and then we can add in that shushing that Steph talked about in the 5 S's. So the 4th trimester really is a chance for you to learn about who your baby is. Every single baby is different. There are not 2 babies on this planet who are the same. You can read as many books as you want, and some parts will apply to your baby and some parts won't. So what we have to understand is that 4th trimester is a chance for you to learn who your baby is, learn about their personality, learn about their cues, and they will all have different cues. They will cry for lots of different reasons, not just because they're hungry. They will cry because they're overstimulated, because they're tired, because their bottoms need a change, and it's very difficult to decipher those cues, those cries in the first few weeks and months. So that 4th trimester is a chance for you to learn who your baby is, learn what their cues are, learn what their cries are, and it's a chance for your baby to learn what this world is all about, to learn that it's okay to lie on my back, to learn that I have my arms here, and at 3 to 5 months I can begin to coordinate them, and I can begin to move my head and move my arms and coordinate all of my body. But those first 3 to 5 months are a learning curve for you both. So please, the best advice we can give you is to please relax. Learn. The harder you work in that 4th trimester, the harder you're going to make it on yourself. You can get routine, you can get all of those things, structure, you can get all of those things when your baby is a little bit older, but use the 4th trimester to learn who they are and to let them learn what this outside world is all about. Thank you. For more information on our courses, please visit mummasandbeans.co.uk.